lot of businesses find it very hard to have young people. They're like, oh, but they do things different, dress different, talk different, eat different, don't sleep as long as us.
Well, they're here to stay. You might as well embrace that.
Well, you have to. If you put crap food in your body when you're young, it's going to come and bite you.
So what distance do you cover? What does that loop give you?
And if you don't look after your physical health, your mental health will go down.
So you have the 4,000K that you're doing. What's next? Welcome to Baiskeli Stories, where boardrooms meet bike trails and business strategy shares the stage with family dinners.
We are two ambitious women balancing corporate careers and the joys of motherhood while making time to log miles on our bikes.
My name is Kahaki, co-host of Baiskeli Stories. I'm a wife, mother of 3, I work for family business, and I love the outdoors.
And I am Rose, a wife, proud mama, fearless adventurer, and business leader.
We're diving into what it really takes to wear all the hats without losing ourselves in the process.
From power moves at work to powerful climbs on the road, we're talking breakthroughs, burnout, and balance.
So, clip in, because this ride is just getting started. Welcome
to Baiskeli Stories.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Baiskeli Stories. As always, I'm here with my co-host,
Hi
Rose.
everybody.
Today we have the pleasure of interviewing Sharon and Peter Crean. I hope I've said that right.
Very good.
And they are the founders of BeyondWater, and they're going to tell us a little bit about that. But we heard about them through our podcast. Somebody mentioned them to us and we're like, yeah, I would love to interview them. So they're here with us, and welcome to Baiskeli Stories.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe we can start with Sharon. How did you...
I'm the one that talks shorter. So.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about yourself. Yeah.
So we're old people. Have you had older people than us?
Yes, we have.
Oh, well, okay, we're young people. So we're New Zealanders. So New Zealand is this tiny country at the bottom of the world. Okay. Like the bottom. In fact, it's the last dropping point before people go to Antarctica. That's how so we grew up there, lived in Australia for 11 years and been living in Kenya for 13. We have 2 adult girls. So Liz lives with us here in Kenya, and she works with our team in BeyondWater. And our youngest daughter, Hannah, is married in Australia with 4 children.
Wow. Oh, so you're grandma and grandpa.
Oh, yeah, it's the best job ever. Yeah. And how long have you been married? Let's see if he gets it right.
We've been married for 37 years.
37 years.
You got it right, yeah?
I stole her when she was only 9. I married her a month after her 19th birthday.
A month, 19th birthday?
I would never let my kids get married that young, but you know.
Wow.
Long story, not going to work.
Okay.
Interesting stories.
Okay, great.
Okay, we'll have that one behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Definitely. That one we must have behind the scenes. Yeah, so how did BeyondWater start? And is it only based here in Kenya?
Right. So what actually happened, when I was in Australia, somebody was trying to sell me a bottle of water for $20.
Okay.
And he was selling the bottle of water for $20 to raise money to put a water well in East Africa somewhere.
Okay.
Right? He wasn't quite sure where, but he wanted to do it. And the stats was this: 5,000 kids a day die because of lack of clean water and waterborne diseases.
Wow.
2 billion people in the world do not have access to toilets. Okay. So talking to him, I decided that this is something that I could come up with. I worked in construction. So I just said to him, what are you going to do after this conference or where we're at? He goes, well, I'm going to go back to England, get married, do my PhD, and then that's it. And I said, well, you need to find somebody who can, crazy enough to think they can give a kid clean water on the other side of the earth, and can build a team around him and get business people to support him, right? And they've got to be crazy business people to believe that we could actually help solve a problem. And that 24 hours, I found the person. Da-da-dum.
Oh, wow.
So what we did is we started BeyondWater Never intended living in Kenya.
Okay.
We just thought, let's live our nice cafe lifestyle by the beach in Australia. But then we thought after a few years, you know what? Let's not have any more regrets in our lives. Let's not get to 70 and wish we'd tried the African adventure. So we just sold up, moved, came, we had a few people interested, started a team here, got a board going here, and our home area that we work in is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and the DRC.
Oh, wow.
So it all depends on who's having war, who's having elections, where we're doing projects. But our focus is primarily on schools, medical clinics, and remote communities. So we have the best team in the world. I know you guys have got the best team, but at BeyondWater we have the bestest team, and we work in all sorts of places. And we have a girls' leadership program.
Okay.
So we've got one here in Kibera, out at Kasserine, Rwanda, and Uganda, as well as building school toilets and water tanks and guttering. So we had a dream of giving a child clean drinking water. Now every day, 240,000 people, which is literally a drop in the bucket, no pun intended, to what the work needs to be done. So so we've been here for 13 years, love it. We live in a very noisy neighbourhood because Nairobi's noisy, but it's central to, get into our programs in Kibera.
Okay.
And so, that's what we do. This is what we do. We don't get paid for it. We're, like you guys, passionate about it.
Okay.
And all our project money goes to projects. So people go, that's where my money was invested.
Oh, wow.
So it's really cool. So that's a little what we do.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So BeyondWater, so if we just roll back to its beginning, the very first project that you did, perhaps explain to us a bit of the challenges you may have faced. It's been 13 years, obviously. You've had a lot of learnings along the way. You have grown in how you handle the NGO, the organization. What were some of those beginning teething problems that you had, and as well as adjusting to, your cafe life to noisy Nairobi?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we have lots of cafes in Nairobi, which is really good. Okay, some of the startup challenges, because people are passionate, and we were passionate about it, didn't have a lot of knowledge. We were just like, we're going to do this. And then we're like, we've got to work the business.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of it. What is your mission statement? What are your values? Where do you want to do stuff? How are you going to do it? And it was literally just me and my laptop plunking away, just doing it, just like every other startup. Getting some people around us, business people who were like-minded, who wanted to do something. That was 2007. Fast forward to 2012 when we moved here, then it was the next step. Getting here and living somewhere is totally different than visiting. So when you live here, you get to see you need a more holistic approach. So in the beginning, we thought it was just deep bore wells because that was the fashion. And at that stage, nobody in Australia was just focusing on water. They were looking at child sponsorship, education, and tech on water. We were the only ones. Now there's lots of organisations. Finding our Kenyan identity, how we work as Africans is very important. Understanding culture, that's not a 5-minute thing. So you have these visitors who come in, and we love them. We love our visitors coming in. But they bring their westernised ideas that don't always work here.
Yeah, true.
And you've got to go,
localise.
you have to localise it. So we're about community engagement. We don't go to a community and say, well, let's just do this. We say, what do you think the problem is? What do you think the solution is? How can we assist you? There's a lot of Western perception that people are, and they think Africa's all one country and war, poverty and famine. So you've got to change that concept. But about saying these people are smart, they're business-minded, they're entrepreneurs. So how are you going to come and assist them? And so that's very, very important. So finding our own culture within the culture of how it works as well. So what works in Nairobi won't necessarily work in Kasserine, won't necessarily work up at Homa Bay. So it's finding that and engaging with people. And it's about us assisting them, giving people a hand up, not a hand out. And that's very important. And our answers in Kenya are from within Kenya.
Okay.
It's within there. We have the resources. It just takes us a little bit longer. We might not have the skill base, or we might not have the financial resources. And that's when we reach out to our friends abroad to assist with that. So teething challenges are reaching the goal, next goal, encompassing it. And so for us, when we came, it wasn't just about deep or wells. We hold on, all these schools, don't have toilets.
Yeah.
30% of schools across East Africa do not have toilets or sufficient toilets.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, but they need somewhere to wash their hands. So we need to put a water tank and gutter in.
So our first toilet block, I can remember it so clearly, right? Because that's for me. I worked in construction, and I understand it, right? So we got the toilets built by two 70-year-old men because they wanted their kids to stay in school. And the school phoned me and said, we got 70-year-old men who want to dig the hole and build the toilets. And can that pay their school fees? And I said, we'll pay their school fees for as long as you want.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's the buy-in, right? Yeah. You imagine the granddads being able to think that I've invested into my grandkids' education. Which is going to change their family, right?
Yes.
So we went there and they built the toilet block. So I'm looking at the toilet block and this is how I work. What's missing? Water. The school's got no water.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with this toilet block? Oh, it's got no gutters on it. It should have gutters and it should have tanks. So from that, I went from 2 doors to 4 doors to 5 doors, 8 doors. But every toilet block I build now has gutters and a 1,500 litre tank with a tap for hand washing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just finished one in Numbasi, up by Kisi, and over the building time, we did the build, put the gutters on. Within 4 days, that 1,500 litre tank was full.
Whoa.
Oh, rain.
So it was in the rainy season, and what actually happens, the people from the community come in and go, what a toilet block. We've never seen a toilet block like this, right? Right next door to it, the government built their toilet block. And I said to the principal, which toilet block do you want me to build? One like this or one like that? And he goes, this one. Because I put Asian pans, steel doors, a privacy wall, gutters and tanks.
Yeah.
And we also put 10,000 litre tanks on the building and connected it all up. So that's what I've learned. I learned that I go in and I say to the guys, this is not a better way. This is just a different way of building.
That's a big challenge, is outsiders coming in and saying, oh, we should do it like this. We get it all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
People say, oh, you should be doing it. And like, no, this is our model. So it's about sticking with your model, with this is how we're going to do it, and doing it from our perspective as Africans, what meets us. So Westerners might come and say, we want it done like this. And we're like, well, actually, no.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
That,
It
I think you've earned the credibility for 13 years having done it. You have the right to say this is what works for us.
You know that,
And
you know
know the
it,
craft.
Yeah.
You understand what is needed.
But you see, somebody said to me, why aren't you putting flush toilets in? Good idea. Flush toilets are brilliant. But you're talking to Maasai kids that never had a flush toilet in the house.
Yeah.
Any toilet.
And any toilet in the house. So how will they know how to use a flush toilet? And then where are we going to get all the water from? Because you need 10 litres of water every time they flush it. Then you need to put a septic tank in, right?
Yeah.
So you've got all this extra cost. And at the end of the day, everybody in Kenya knows how to use latrine.
Yeah.
So let's build a latrine that can be used for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And let's use Asian pans because it's hygienic, it's easy to keep clean, stops the mess, right? And put steel doors on it because the wooden doors fall apart. And so let's do steel doors and let's build a privacy wall for the girls so that the teachers can see in, right? And it's about security too. Adult guys can't sneak into the girls' toilets because the way I built it is the privacy wall's 5 blocks high and guys can't get in and the teachers can actually see.
Oh, I see.
So, and I talked to the teachers, they go, why did you do that? And I said, well, the school is responsible for every girl. Any sexual misconduct, the school's in trouble.
Yeah.
It's our job as parents and adults to make sure our kids are safe at school, that they can stay at school, get educated, and really affirm. And I've got 2 daughters, so I'm big on girls, right? Education. So I want girls to have the same quality and the same things as boys, right? And
also we build, and this is a big challenge looking at rising costs, as you know, across our country, is keeping that quality control, which is very important. So we go, would I use that? Would I want my children and my grandchildren? That's how we build. That's our philosophy. So BeyondWater, some of the challenges of growth have been keeping, we call it our tribe, keeping that family atmosphere where we work, working close together as you grow, how do you keep that? But also, how do you train up the next generation? So we're at the legacy level now, where we've got 8 more years we can stay in Kenya because somebody is getting old and he has to retire. But what do we leave? Not just leaving behind, but what do we want to see it going? So we're at that legacy stage now.
Okay, so you're grooming the next generation taking over the leadership of BeyondWater within Kenya. I would say also in Rwanda and the other countries you're in.
We've always had the philosophy it should be run by locals.
So
it's about training, empowering that. So our staff go from whatever's now before Gen Z all the way up to us oldies. You know, it's good and a lot of businesses find it very hard to have young people. They're like, oh, but they do things different, dress different, talk different, eat different, don't sleep as long as us.
Well, they're here to stay. You might as well embrace it.
But you have to. I mean,
you have to
invest in the next generation and the ones below. You've got to put faith in them, right?
Absolutely.
So even like at each school, they have a health club. And so when we do a community handover, that's very important. The community owns it. It's the young people that run the whole day event. So they'll be doing dance and speeches and, you know, cutting the ribbons and all sorts. It has to be about the next generation. And this is very important for us. And as older people, we get threatened by that. Like, oh, I'll be out of a job. That's the best news we can ever happen. We get out of a job.
And hand it over to somebody.
So, you know, it's very important.
So let me ask this because how did the cycling come into this whole Beyond Water? How has it been?
COVID.
Okay. So I guess, how did that start?
Okay, so what actually happened is we were in New Zealand when COVID hit, right? I've got to go back before. I used to love cycling when I was a kid.
Okay.
Right? I had the oldest bike. You know those old bikes that we have here? Well, I had one of those and I would do mountain riding on that.
Okay.
And my dad used to beat me up because every time I'd go out, I'd break an axle or bend the rim. So it was a hiding from beating up on your bike, but it was fun, okay? I was one of those guys who would jump off a 20-foot cliff. I had no fear.
Oh, dear. Okay.
I would do crazy stuff on my bike.
We didn't grow up in a large city like Nairobi. We grew up in the village.
A village kind of city.
I only ever had 2 high schools, still only has 2 high schools,
I see.
Kind of thing. So in those days, it was like when we were all grown up, we could leave home on a Saturday morning, see you later, and come home when it's dark. So
and everybody's your uncle and auntie.
Okay,
right? So if your auntie tells your mum that she smacked you or told you off, you're in big trouble, You're in big trouble. So
we were in New Zealand, COVID struck. And we've gone there because we do speaking tours. We speak in schools, community groups about the work of Beyond Water, hoping that they partner with us for fundraising. First day, lockdown happens. And lockdown happened for 8 months where we were stuck. We couldn't come home to Kenya because the government wasn't allowing flights in. We could technically come because we're residents. And so, you know, everybody got online presentations and that. But this one is full ADD.
I'm ADD. And I was staying with our daughter, my son-in-law, and 3 kids at that stage.
Okay.
And a 3-bedroom house, which was really small. And as you know, I've got a loud voice and I love making noise because I'm an ADD sanguine person. Sharon's brother had a 26-inch road bike.
Road bike, okay.
And it's a mountain bike, but he had road tyres on it. So I took off the road tyres and put on mountain tyres. And that law in New Zealand was that you're allowed to go only within 5 kilometres of your house.
Okay.
I worked out this. I'm by myself. The police, I don't know Auckland. Well, I do, but they don't know that I know Auckland because I'm from Kenya, right? And I'm just riding and I got lost. So if they ever pulled me up, I had an excuse, right? So one day I did 99 Ks without knowing. I had no money, no food on me. I just went riding.
You just needed to get out of the house.
Well, I had to because I was stir crazy, right? And I was really annoyed because they're shutting down the world and I'm going, why? It's just...
The previous year, we had been on our annual speaking tour, and the South Island of New Zealand is some of the most stunning scenery of the world. And one of the young guys in our church, he is a cyclist, and I sort of thought, this would be cool to come cycling. So of course I'm videoing, and next year, COVID happened. So that started that, and then we thought, why can't we have something here in Kenya? Then we looked at the complexities of it.
So Sharon, do you cycle?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, not
okay.
for. I had a hip injury,
Okay.
so I'm cycling at the gym at the moment. But my bike's collecting dust. I'm like, this is not a good look.
Okay.
good.
No,
So
yeah.
we thought there was another organisation in Australia. They cycle 4,000 kilometres across the width of Australia, and I'm like,
Oh.
could we do that smaller in New Zealand, America, whatever, Kenya? And so because in Kenya we have a lot of great outdoor activities. It's just not promoted in tourism.
Yeah,
You know, the
true.
wildlife is promoted, the beach, which
Yeah.
is stunning.
Yeah.
But we have, we have mountain biking, we have bungee jumping, we have whitewater rafting that's not in whitewater. We have all these, but it's not really promoted in tourism industry.
Yeah,
So we're like,
true.
this is
It's like
something
if you know, you know.
we need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, look, let's start the trial in other countries and work out what doesn't work in long distance.
Cycling.
So we decided that 2022 we would do
The North
the
Island.
North Island of New Zealand, which is 1,500 kilometres.
North
Island.
Isle of New
So
Zealand.
New Zealand's 2 islands.
Okay.
Well, it's actually quite a few, but 2 big ones that people live on.
Yeah.
So they're each about 1,500 kilometres.
Each, in distance.
In
I
distance.
see.
Yeah, so you took the
were
north
do-
and
you
Yeah, so
took-
we took the north, so it's from Caperanga
Uh-huh.
all the way down to Wellington, right?
Okay.
Google
And
it.
2 brothers, the
Kenneth.
Kenneth brothers,
Yeah.
actually mapped it out. So there's a book that actually tells you at this K you turn here, at this K you turn here.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
it's
right.
really clever.
So it was. It took a lot of thinking out, right? And so we put it together. For,
Okay.
for the North
So do you
Island.
do those? What do they call those bikes that are
The bike packing?
not bike
Yeah.
packing?
The
no,
dual.
the dual bike, or you each have
No,
one?
no, we're not.
Oh.
Well, I have seen some people who do that.
Yeah, I've seen,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't know why. Yeah,
No.
I've seen-
That'll drive me crazy because my wife would be telling me, "Slow down, you're pedaling too fast. You're pedaling too fast. Slow down." And then I'll be slowing down. She goes, "Speed up, speed up."
Yeah,
you
so-
can't win, guys. You just can't
With
win.
COVID, a lot of well, we were one of the few that kept all our staff on, full wages, kept everything going. Had to change some of our projects. But also was a challenge of, okay, people are used to fundraising this way. What's something alternative? We thought, let's get people involved who normally wouldn't.
Right.
We don't want to do a black tie event. We don't have the people for that. Golf days, well, we can't do that. We don't have people and it costs a lot of money. So we thought, let's get some people who are interested in cycling.
In cycling.
So we just started talking about it, presenting it to people, and of course, everybody at the beginning said, yeah, until they realise, it's a long way.
1,500 kilometres.
Yeah, we said, look, you can come for a day, a week,
Yeah.
or whatever, because it was about a month, wasn't it?
It took about 20 days.
Yeah,
Oh,
20
wow.
20-something
But
days.
we did it so that we had a day off.
Rest days.
Rest
Yeah, you got to
days.
do those
Okay.
rest days, yeah.
And New Zealand is very, very hilly. You think Kenya's hilly?
Oh,
The
really?
hills
So what sort of
are steep.
elevations?
What is the elevation? Yeah.
That is a really good question.
Daily.
Well,
like,
the thing is, let's go a sidebar here, is that New Zealand is they were smart. Okay, they might be a small country, but they were smart. They're like, we have all these old railway tracks. Let's transfer those and make them biking tracks.
And walking tracks.
And walking
hiking
tracks.
see.
So you could literally go from top to bottom, and they've set up all these routes that you can go just cycling or walking on.
Wow.
So the first
So you
part...
don't no traffic.
No traffic, no cars.
Unless you really want...
I mean, I got some photos on my phone, and I'll share them with you,
Wow.
that the bridges are built over valleys. The government's paid them, and there's no charge.
Oh,
to go
yeah, it's
on
all
it.
free.
It's all free.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody can walk. Anybody
Can-
But it can go
Yeah.
from beaches to mountains to, and we're talking some of the highest mountains. Okay, not Kilimanjaro high, but pretty high. And the first part is called 90 Mile Beach, which is about 80 kilometres, sand. So you do it all on sand. So the first day we did it, it was meant to be 5 hours. We did 10.
Oh my
Because
God.
we
On
had
sand.
On
On
sand.
sand.
We headwind,
And-
wrong tides.
And we hit the tide at the right stage, but because we had a headwind, you were pedaling.
Pushing back.
And you're just pushing.
This is day
You're just
one.
hard work, right? And
So-
then the tide comes in, so it pushes you up to the soft sand. So it was like, I got to walk this, right? So we had to wait for the tide to turn, and we carried on going, and I
The three
worked
of
out.
us
This
that
is
day.
day 1 of 22.
Yeah.
So there were
So,
3 of
I
us.
mean, you almost want to say,
Well, I have to say, so it was 2 to 5 hours, it was 10. No food, he didn't have any food, any water left.
Because
And our vehicle was down the other end of the
I was
beach.
just going to ask, where's your support?
Yeah, well, that one we had a support vehicle, the others we haven't. And so I could see Keith right in the distance. we didn't say hi to him. We just like, where's the water?
What?
Where's the food?
Oh,
And that was, I'm thinking, if this is day one.
And that was only halfway through the beach.
What's the heck? But the next day took only 5 hours. So that was
What distance was the next day?
so actually the first day was about 45k.
And the next day was 100. We did 100.
Yeah.
So that 45k is what took you 10 hours.
Yeah.
It was
Because
the
of the
worst.
course,
wind.
Yeah.
And so,
But the interesting thing is people walking, some people walk the same track, and we looked at them and like, gee, I'd hate to be walking. They looked at us and I'd hate to be cycling. And so they end up with huge, big blisters on their feet. And we were just, that was day one. But after that, it was much better. But yeah.
So that was a first, and that was a fundraising.
How many were you?
Three
of us.
Okay, it went from anywhere from 3 to 7 people. Okay. Some people joined just for a day. We had school kids joining us. Our daughter Liz, who lives with us, she is special needs. She has Asperger's, very high functioning autism.
Yeah.
But riding a bike, I mean, it would just fall over. But my brother, who he would drive 3 hours to come and deliver a part that was broken on a bike, just so we would make it.
So he was your mech on the go.
Yeah, he was like, I'm just taking time off work. I think he told his boss he was sick or something. But anyways,
So that was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So that
was
worked,
one. That was
obviously.
one year. Yeah.
That was 1 year.
I didn't end up finishing that one because I broke a rib. Not on my bike. I slipped
on some steps
because I do filming. I'm like thinking, this would be great promotion for the future. Slipped on these wooden steps, broke a rib, so I didn't do the last 500k, which was a bummer.
Oh wow! But you did 1,000.
Yeah, but it sucks not to finish.
I know.
Yeah,
So
there's
that took
nothing
you
like
20 days.
Yeah.
So was that the longest of all the rides you've done?
No.
Because now I know
following
you've done.
year, he did solo.
I did the solo on the South
no
Island,
support
which is
vehicles.
number 1,500 with no support vehicles. I just started and then
How many days
Bike
was that?
that
Yeah,
I
he
could have
did.
done that in 15. I did it in 19.
19 days.
I could have easily done it in 15, right? So the last day was 33 Ks and my average speed was, I was doing under 3 minutes a kilometre for 30 Ks.
Yes, but you also did the Crown Range.
Yeah, I did the Crown
Range.
The
which
Crown
is
Range is nearly 1,100
this.
metres. So from Creans town to the Crown Range is the top of the mountains where the snow is. It's 40 kilometres of a climb. But the last 10 Ks is like this, really steep.
Wow.
Right?
Whoa.
And my personal challenge is no who is going to get me to walk. I'm going to ride this, right?
And you're on a road bike.
On my mountain bike.
Mountain bike.
Yeah. So
turning 61.
turning 61,
Wow.
I was not going to walk. I was allowed to. This is what I said. I'm allowed to stop, take a photo, but I'm not allowed to push my bike forward. I can bring it back, but I'm not allowed to. Where I stop, right? And I'm not allowed to walk. If I walk it, then I failed the challenge, my personal challenge, right? And what you guys got to understand, all my life as a kid, I got told I'm a nobody. I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't speak properly. I was a nobody. I was adopted. So this personal challenge was a really challenge of I am somebody because I can do this, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And when I got to the Crown Range, I thought, this is going to be fun, man. And in New Zealand, we have a lot of overseas people, right? And I was on the side of the road and because it's such a steep climb, there was not many cars in New Zealand. It's not like Nairobi, right? So I was roving this red car on and he stopped and nearly caused an accident. The car's coming up behind him because he couldn't tell the difference. Because he wasn't a New Zealand driver, he was an Asian driver. He couldn't tell distance between me and him. So he actually pushed me off the road, which means I'm on the steepest part, pulled my bike up and had to get going, right? Oh. And I was fuming mad.
Oh, no.
and so I just decided, this is it. I'm going to keep on going. I'm not walking. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. So it's a bit like the escarpment on steroids.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it was like.
Double the elevation,
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you finish a challenge like that, your personal challenges, right? And that's
really
how I did the solo challenges. Every day it was a personal challenge. Right? And I was like, okay, I did this, right?
Yeah.
Got down to the bluff by myself, which
is the bottom of the
bottom of the South Island.
Okay.
And in the summertime it was freezing cold. But
so we don't live there, horrible weather.
Yeah. But people say to me, what did that do? Well, we raised some money, but it also set me a goal saying, okay, 1,500 K is a piece of cake, right? So what's next is one of my board members in America is into bike riding. And he goes, oh, I'd love to come to do this in New Zealand, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, okay.
He's coming here in a few weeks to experience the joys of cycling in Nairobi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so what I'm going to do is I've picked the best part of the South Island because it's the most beautiful part of New Zealand, and it has got the Crown Range in it.
I'll share some videos.
And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be ocean, it's going to be bush, it's going to be lakes, it's going to be mountains. So he's going to have a full-on experience.
Right.
I just have to say cycling through our continent, though, is amazing. So we took long service leave last year. So took a few months off, and we thought, we're only ever travelling 4 projects around East Africa. But it would be really sad if we didn't actually see the rest of the continent. So we're like, we're going to jump in our car and we're going to drive for 3 months. Ended up in Namibia and South Africa. It was awesome. But what really struck me is the number of cyclists. A lady from Asia had been cycling for 2.5 years through Africa, solo.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and she's like, I think I'm running out of money. I think, how did you afford that? But anyway,
2.5
I feel
years.
like we need to find her.
Yeah. And we met a couple, I can't remember where they're from. They've been cycling from Europe. They're cycling from Kenya all the way down. And just these crazy people cycling by themselves. And you're like,
Oh,
wow, this is
When people see you guys cycling, that's what they think. They're like, who are these guys cycling?
We've seen people outside of Narok, all these Wazungu, and I'm like, and it's quite hilly coming up to Narok. I'm like, you guys, older people are crazy. I would never spend the dollars. I'm like, cool, bring on the money because it's for our projects. And Houston is flat as a pancake, so they don't hit any hills.
Okay.
So he started that, which is really, really cool. And then so Pete's doing New Zealand with Jeff next year. The following year, we're going to do Scotland because I've heard Scotland is amazing. I'm like, okay, that's actually affordable to go up from Nairobi. But there's summer. You can only cycle there in summer when it gets to like 11 degrees.
Yeah, because I'm like, we've got the moodiest weather ever.
Oh, well, we've got a friend there. He's got an e-bike. He goes, yeah, I'm 70. My wife and I are 70. So we're just cycling 70 kilometres. We buzz on the e-bike when we need to. And he goes, and it's 3 degrees outside. I'm like,
no, thank you.
I live in Kenya. I love our weather.
So is it annual? Is it an annual?
Yeah, well,
so
you do
since
it annual.
COVID,
Since COVID, you do it annually.
It just gets people involved who normally wouldn't.
Right.
So in 2028, 2027 is our 20th anniversary of BeyondWater.
Okay.
So we've got a whole lot of events that we're going to run. Get our kids involved in the different experiences that we take for granted. So they've never been to Karura Forest. They've never seen the elephants. They wouldn't know.
He's a Kenyan.
Been on a bike before. All those kind of things we want to do that year. But it's also our election year. So we were trying to be wise about activities. But the beginning of 2028, Pete, I will be in the support vehicle that's going to cycle 4,000 kilometres.
Wow.
Because I'll be 60.
Where to?
In Australia.
In Australia.
So it's the width of the country.
Okay, 4,000. How long do you anticipate that?
I think it's going to take 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, 60 days.
Okay. Is that the longest that you've ridden?
It will be the longest I've ever ridden at once.
Okay.
But then I look at my bike, because I record all my riding.
Yeah.
And I've done in the last 4 years 5,700 Ks, right?
Yeah.
And
it's not on an e-bike.
No, it's on my mountain bike.
I'm
not ready for an e-bike yet, guys. I'm not that old yet.
Yeah.
But it's also something that I want to talk to older men, right? And this is my thing. Just because you're 65 doesn't mean you're used by date. But I've got the saying, you either use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
And too many older guys say, and I think we've been sold a banana, that retirement, just when you get to retirement age, that's it, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, when you stop making your body work, you seize up and you lose that zeal to go and take the challenge.
Your muscles
drop, right?
Yeah.
And so I try and tell guys, still got a lot to live for. If you've got grandkids, you've got them to live for.
Yeah.
You've got young people around you that are asking serious questions. We've got the answers.
Yeah.
And so if we're not fit, if we're not looking after ourselves, we can't input into that generation.
I know you mentioned that there's fundraising that's done in Houston. do you guys go like, and I know there's been a lot of fundraising along like ultra cycling events. Do you attend all of them, or do you just go to, like you mentioned, Houston?
Yeah, no, it's not always possible.
Okay.
As you know, flights are very expensive, so you
Yes,
have to
of course.
pick and choose.
Yeah.
And also, you don't want to micromanage. So if somebody comes up with an idea, you want them to run with it. So the guys in Houston thought of that. Now, Houston is easy. It's very flat, no hills at all. So when our friend Jeff comes, he's going to experience just a little bit of elevation. And you take the Crown Range in New Zealand was 4,000 metres. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
But he took it as his personal challenge. Yeah. I love, we're not about speed. We're about the length of something and bringing people
together.
And we've had little kids cycling with us. We've had people from community groups cycle with us. We just really would love something a bit more here that we could work on that as well. So we talk about all our great future plans. We would love to have something like that and give maybe even some of our kids from Kibera who've never been on a bike. We want to give them an experience of biking. I mean, most of our team have never been on a bike. And they're all mature. They say they're mature adults. They're all young people. So let's do something in our own neighbourhood. That's what I want to see us working towards.
So Pete and Sharon, how effective has cycling been as a fundraising tool? Because you started BeyondWater and you were fundraising through other means, having all these seminars and sitting down and talking to people. But then now you went into cycling and you're using that to raise funds for your NGO. How is that coming along? And how would you say you're able to reach your goals through this?
You have to have a specific goal. So we always say it's for a specific school or a hospital. So that people they go, I understand my money's going towards that. Helps with your marketing and everything like that. We're very fortunate now because we have so many online tools that we can access. 5-10 years ago, we didn't have any of those platforms. So I know that you're young people, but there was a time there wasn't internet, right? Now we have all these tools.
We're very young people. We're very young.
Some things have paid off more than others. So like our climbing on Kilimanjaro, that was a bust. Didn't go there for us. And I think organisations have made it too hard for people to give and too hard for people to volunteer and to take part. So we say to everybody who takes part, you pay your own way, everything. If it's flying, if it's bringing your bike, if it's food, accommodation, because they have some onus on it. We don't, like other organisations, say you have to raise X amount of shillings. Because people go, oh, well, what if I can't do that? So we want them to take part because they become your best advocates. We haven't made gazillions of shillings, but we have accomplished all the projects we set out to. And you can't be fundraising all the time with cycling because people have busy lives, right? They're in business.
And it takes long. It takes a couple of weeks. It takes, you have to take time off.
And so we've said to people, look, if you can only come for a week to, let's say it's something abroad, then that's fine. Just give what you can, but give 100% of that. So this has really only been going for a few years, but we'll see it as a regular pattern. And then we have seen some people who've come along, like John, he's a 70-year-old, or 70-something now, 75, and he cycles every day because he just loves it.
So what distance do you cover? What does that loop give you?
So I get about 50 odd K.
But leading up to an event.
Yeah, leading up to an event, I start trying to get up to 60, 70 Ks, right? So in 50 Ks, I do 2 hours and 20 minutes, an average of 20 kilometres an hour, right? And it's not too fast, but it's...
I'm slower.
Because I look at it and saying I need to do, if I'm doing 100K a day, right, I need to sustain it. And what I do when I'm riding by myself, believe it or not, I pretend that I'm in a cycle race. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
And so when I get tired, I go, come on, you just got to go a little bit faster, break through. You know what I mean? You want to give up.
So you cheer your best cheer.
You have to. I find that too. Even when we do the long hauls, you become your own cheerleader, your coach. You're like, come on.
Yeah, you've got to drive yourself.
Self-talk.
I give myself pep talk.
But when I get to 40K, right, this is a secret.
Oh, here we go.
I stop and I buy a coffee. Right?
You never gave up the cafe.
And I'm trying to tell the gas station when I stop on Gong Road, Rubus, they've got a really nice coffee shop in there. I said, what you need to do is talk to these bikers and say, if you want to stop, we'll give you a discounted coffee. right? Because they're not busy, right? But what it does is the after sales is, we'll just go and get some petrol here. And, I'll have a coffee on to go, right? And so I said, but they just don't get the culture, right? Because in Australia, biking groups will go out for a bike ride and always finish at the cafes, right? And that's it. And then the guys disperse and people.
We've seen that here in lots of places too.
Well,
Yeah.
it's similar to what we do, only that we don't go to,
Rubies, we have our little
we have a kiosk.
Yeah, that's right.
Some nice mabati
Sometimes,
places,
yes.
Yeah.
but they make the best tea and the best
best
chapatis.
And that's what you need. You need
Yeah.
the
That's
carbs.
what you need.
Yeah, so
right?
I'm a
you
coffee-
don't even you don't bother about
See,
where
I'm
you're stopping.
gluten free, so I just get to smell the chapatis and the samosas. I'm like, I can't eat it, it'll make me sick. But yeah, you've got to fuel up, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have
do,
those,
yeah.
we call them, our kibandas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you got to stop and
fuel up.
because when I'm doing long distance riding, that's what I do, right? I stop at 40k or 25, 30k and have a break, and then back on. Yeah. So, like I might do 50k in 2 hours and 20, but that 50k is on my long ride could be 4 hours because it depends on what I'm stopping on elevations and my plan is not just to go to A to B and get to B, but I have the saying, we are going to stop and smell the roses.
Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Enjoy the scenery.
Yeah.
Take it
it's
in,
not
right?
always
Because you might not ever do this again, right? And you got to stop and smell the roses. It's not about just getting to point B. It's about, hey, who do you meet on the road? I mean, I've talked to people, another cyclist going this way, I'm going this way, and we talk for 45 minutes. Why?
Yeah, well, for you, that wouldn't take long.
It doesn't take long, it takes 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But you do. It's really cool when you do see other cyclists on the road.
yes.
Even when we're driving and you're like, give that guy space.
yes, go wide.
Yeah, I do that as well.
Go
I do that as
wide.
well.
When you're cycling, you hear, sometimes you can't hear them, especially the electric cars. I had an electric motorbike flying past me, nearly gave me a heart attack because you can't hear. And I'm always listening to
what's around you,
what's around me.
here,
Yeah,
because we don't have the. I know you mentioned earlier in New Zealand.
we
there's
have
cycle
You
lanes.
don't have to really worry about your
Yeah.
surroundings because
Exactly.
it's dedicated.
dedicated. And if you are on the road, you either have to give a whole lane. In Australia, it's a whole lane,
Yeah, for the cyclists.
cyclists, or 1.5 meters in New Zealand, right? And if you get caught breaking that law, there's
fined.
no extra pay the police officer. You will get fined, and it's a serious fine. It's not a little fine.
I wish we.
But you
we
guys
need
are
to get
you're
there.
very brave to
We-
ride
we're
by
getting
yourself.
there.
I hardly ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ride.
I know.
No.
Because of the way the security of the road.
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
The
Like there is
thing,
some.
the thing
Yeah,
with
so-
me is in a group, because I'm not the world's fastest cyclist, but I like to enjoy it. You feel like you're holding people up. And I've never, I used to be a runner, and I would never like the group runs either because I just like to set my own pace. I think it's just the type of person that you are. But here, you do need to go in the group. So I'd love to do the Southern Bypass, but we've got to find enough of us at the right time that
To
suits
do it
everyone.
because it's really dangerous to
also
go on
dangerous.
because we've got
Yeah.
thieves out there,
Yeah,
right?
that's a tricky
And
part. You have to
Insecurity
know.
And
is
yet-
a big problem.
It's huge.
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
And so where I ride around the back of Karen and all that, I know it's safe, right? And
But you still have to be aware.
you've got to be aware of your
Always
environment.
aware.
You've got to be always switched on.
Alert.
You know,
Yeah.
alert.
And so you go
what
out
time-
and sorry,
Good,
what
I was
time?
gonna ask,
Yeah,
what time do you cycle?
You go in the morning.
I try and leave home at 8 in the morning because we've got busy days. So I try and get back by 10:30, right?
But you have that
Yeah.
flexibility.
But I've got that flexibility, right? So
Where I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm the CEO of the company, which basically means you've got to do longer hours. And so I don't get out there as much as Pete. So, but then I think if you have a goal, like you go, okay, this year we're going on this event at this time, it actually forces you.
But you go
So-
to, but
Yeah.
what Sharon does, she goes to the gym 3 days a week.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I
Right.
do that because I can work it out. So this afternoon at 3, hit the gym for an hour, and I spend cycling time there. Primarily because I've got a hip injury, and so I'm just pacing. I'm like, okay, not ready, too young for a hip replacement, but I still want to keep fit. But I tell you what, riding on a bike in the gym is not like riding on the road.
Definitely.
Totally
Totally
different.
Just
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 different
like running on
traction.
the treadmill is not like running on the
No,
outdoors.
but
the same.
but some people like that do the indoor cycling, and that's all cool. But we love the fresh air. And when I get up first thing in the morning at 5 o'clock, I like to open
windows
my
open,
doors,
door.
it drives Pete crazy. But I just like that freshness, But you still can't say, I can't go biking, therefore I can't go get fit. Now, even if you can't afford to go to the gym, you can still walk. You can still get out and do it.
There's still...
I saw on a TV show ages ago a 70-year-old woman who'd lost like 20 kgs just by walking around her little flat about the size of this room.
Yeah. So
and
walking
I'm like,
is effective.
Walking is very effective.
Very effective.
You know, so you seem to be deliberate about your fitness. What does that do for you? That you have to fit it in, you have to fit in the cycling, the gym. What does that do for you? And what would you tell somebody out there who perhaps hasn't quite figured out fitness into their life?
Can I do that one? Because my lifestyle's crazy. Because running a company, it's all across the world, looking after, you've got legal stuff to do, you've got tax stuff to do, you've got staff stuff to do. And people go, I don't have time for fitness. Do you have time to breathe? If you have time to breathe, and the average Kenyan spends nearly 4 hours a day on their phone, just on social media, you got time. And if you don't look after your physical health, your mental health will go down. So for me, when I'm looking after my physical health, it's just like, I turn off my phone for that hour, I don't turn it off because my husband, he might get stuck on something. I need some money, or, when we're having for dinner, important things in life. But on that, I just listen to podcasts, put my headphones on, and that's my time out. And then I walk home the 15 minutes from that. I've done my hour and a half exercise, and 3 times a week. If I start missing those out, it all falls away. It's really interesting. Mental health, because I'm listening to podcasts, I'm getting some fresh air, some vitamin D from the sun. It's just that thing there. It just helps keep you in balance. Okay, so I might be working till 9 o'clock that night, but I've had that couple of hours off, go to the gym, have a shower, get freshened up. My good man cooks dinner for me. He's a good man.
And then Kenyan man can tell me how to train a Kenyan wife to be a Kenyan wife. Come and tell me, please.
But you got to look after.
But I love cooking, so that's really cool.
Okay.
So, we always say this, you look at your body now, where you want to be in 10, 20 years' time. What you do now is going to affect then. When you're younger, you don't care about that because you can kind of do anything. But as you get older, as we were discussing, the body does not.
But one of the other things people don't realise, young people don't realise, is if you put crap food in your body when you're young, it's going to come and bite you. Like my oldest brother would drink and smoke, and he was a truck driver, and he just didn't look after himself. He had a massive heart attack a day before he turned 65. And he died, and it's really sad for his grandkids. It's just sad, right? And I say to people, they go, why? I go, because he never looked after himself when he was young. Yeah, he had some really big problems, right? It's really sad. His story is really sad. What happened to him, but you can't just blame your history, right?
You can change.
Yeah, you can
for your destiny. You see. If you really want to know, I don't have a great childhood life, but I'm not blaming that. That's history. My destiny is my future, and how I perceive my future is my destiny. So the things I do, and I'm very active, right?
But if Pete doesn't, especially
if I don't exercise,
ADD, he's crazy in the house.
I bounce off. You can't put me in an office for 8 hours a day and go, Pete, you just stay in the office and go home, because I start bouncing.
But also, we're starting in Kenya to talk about mental health now, which is really good. We're normalising some of those things there. But ways people can deal with their mental health is get out, go for a 15-minute walk. It's not going to kill you. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you putting in your body? What are you watching? If you're just endlessly watching TikTok videos, that's cool, and that's your life. Maybe you need to change a few things. Get out there, go and do something for somebody else that they're not going to pay you for. Go volunteer somewhere.
It makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
You've got to think holistically. We can't just say, I'm just going to look after my body, or I'm just going to look after this or whatever. I'm 56. I've already did my master's years ago. I've climbed Kilimanjaro twice, cycled myself crazy, had a couple of kids, lots of grandkids, which I love to bits. But I'm now, what am I doing? I'm completing a diploma in photography. Finishing that in 3 weeks. I'm training as a mental health coach online. upskilling and that. So you've got to be
constantly
Going.
looking for a new challenge or new goal.
A lot of people, especially as you get older, they go, I've done my I studied at school, I've had my kids.
I'm not going back.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
A lot of people when they retire, they die because they don't have a plan for retirement, and they haven't looked after
That's why I said,
themselves.
we've been sold a banana to be told to retire. No, retirement is doing, and I say to people, I'm retired. I'm doing the thing that I love the most, right? And it's not a chore. It's not hard building school toilets and putting school gutters in. It's not hard traveling around. It's not hard because it's my passion.
Yeah.
And when you leave your workplace, you're not retired. You just got to carry on with your passion.
It's a different thing.
So it's just a different way of doing it. And, I've lost a lot of friends who retired within a couple of months. Or if they've had strokes and heart attacks. And you sit down and you start talking to them why, and they go, I stopped being active. I lost a vision, And, like the good book says, a man with a vision carries. A man without a vision perishes. And so people go to me, you're 62. Yeah, but I'm doing 4,000 Ks. I purpose that in my heart. I'm 65. I'm not going to let my age dictate what I can do.
Yeah,
right?
You just keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
So talking about vision and what's next, I mean, for BeyondWater, you talked about retirement, and also that you're in the legacy stage. So as you talk about the projects, as you go on to the next things, in the next 2-3 years for BeyondWater. So you have the 4,000 K that you're doing. What's next? What's ahead?
Wow, so many exciting things. I love what we do, and we will never stop doing it. Retirement is really refirement. That's what it is. It's not retirement, putting my feet up on there and drinking a coffee. It's about, we've always had the philosophy, national ownership. So we have looked over the last 5 years raising up a team of nationals specifically for the future. So Mary, who's she's now our African director, was our East Africa, now it's her job there. We're giving her more and more. She looks after Africa, I look after everybody abroad. We're just going to be growing our vision. 2027 is our 20th anniversary of BeyondWater. So we're looking at activities there, expanding our team, expanding the work that we do. South Sudan is on
the cards.
Well, we've got deep well wells because deep well wells are only $10,000 here. Here to drill alone is looking at $20,000, so 2 million shillings. Yeah. So you can go there. So we're just going to keep growing, keep bringing people on board, looking diversifying within Kenya itself, having more of a Kenyan identity. It's really important. We've got partners here in Kenya. We've got Ink Sisterhood, Nazava Filters, a few other guys who I can't remember. Don't worry, they probably won't watch a podcast anyway. And things like that. So we want more of an African identity on things, which is very, very important. This is who we are. People go, when you're going home, it's like, well, this actually is our home. When we go abroad, we're tourists. We know what they're talking about, have no idea. And so even, we'll wear flip-flops, wear slippers inside here. You do that in Australia and our grandchildren say, why are you wearing, what do they call them?
Thongs.
Thongs over there, thongs. What are you wearing thongs? And I'm like, that's what we do back home. So
back home.
Home is where our feet are right now. So solidifying what we're doing, not handing them and saying, bye-bye, we're out of here, because we are Kenyans, You see little kids yelling, I say, partner, maybe Kenyan, and they're like, And so, but doesn't matter how long we'll be here, we'll always be foreigners, But this is our home, this is our identity, this is who we are. And so even our daughter Liz, who's with us, she's 35 now, she'll always be our forever 15-year-old because of her disabilities, but she'll go, I'm Kenyan. This is my home. This is who I am. And that's what we want for BeyondWater. This is who we are. Bringing others on board, raising up a new generation, always working within our countries that we work in. It might look different, but things have to be evolving. Organisations have to evolve. And this is why who was the guys who did cameras years and years ago went out of business.
Canon.
No, it wasn't Canon.
Kodak.
Kodak. Sorry, good one. Kodak. Well, Kodak went out of business because they wouldn't evolve And as businesses, we've got to be evolving. Our business is people. So we have to evolve with the people, evolve with the times, bring on the new things, bring on new ways of doing things, keeping with our identity, which is to alleviate poverty through the provision of safe, clean drinking water and sanitation facilities. That is who we are.
Yeah.
People can have their other ideas of doing things, and there will always be people who do things bigger and better, but this is who we are, this is how we do it. We're a grassroots organisation, and that's how we will always evolve to, working alongside communities. So,
So if people want to get involved in the cycling fundraising that you do, how would they do that? Like,
go on our website, beyondwater.global,
okay.
and just send us an email that way and say, I'd love to do something. So we want people to be involved. We want people to come up with ideas of doing stuff within Kenya, you know. So one of the things for our 20th anniversary is to do a cycling event at Karura with our kids from Kibera who've never even crossed over Gong Road. You know, so maybe that's something people can get involved with.
Yeah.
We've actually, we belong to Rotary clubs here. We're now with one overseas, but we had a bike-a-thon that we held years ago that we organised, which was really, really successful, and want to see more of those events happening as well. So,
because when we set that cycling event up, I did a 60k, 30k, and a 5k for kids, right? Because I wanted to be family, right? And so we set that up.
It was pre-COVID days.
It was pre-COVID. And we also set up a marketplace. So the mums that don't like cycling, they could go and buy food and hang out and be a part of the whole event, right?
So having something like that again would be really cool.
Because sometimes we'd have a bike event, finish your ride, put your bike in the car and drive. And I've always said that if you're going to do an event for community, let's put the stops in and put the kids. You know, we had trampolines, because I wanted the people to stop and take in what a great day we had, right? So,
So it's really, really nice that we could sit down and talk with you this afternoon. Sharon, your passion speaks very loudly. You definitely love what you're doing, and it's been such a great, great pleasure to interact with you and Pete and hear what you're doing at BeyondWater, and more so what you do as cyclists, because we are cyclists and we love to cycle. And, you know, we're learning from you. We are also, you know, trying to use our cycling for good, and we will look at ways and avenues to do more cycling events that give back to the community. So you're an inspiration to us, and we're happy to have met people. I don't know anybody from New Zealand, but now I've got to do now. A couple from New Zealand that we know well, and we hope to keep in touch with you and see BeyondWaters grow beyond what it is today. So all the best in your future endeavors as BeyondWaters, as yourselves, as cyclists. And we hope to meet on these cycling streets. I mean,
I'm sure you will. And hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
and I think
really
we have our girls' leadership program called the Girl Project. I think it'd be great to have you guys there to just come and share about it, just to inspire these girls about the adventures that you do. That would be really good. So I'll put you in touch with Mary, and we'll get you along and come and speak.
Sure.
Yeah.
We would love to. Actually. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here on Baiskeli Stories.
Thank you.
So it's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.